Whodat, everybody. Another Monday morning, another loss. This game was strange. This Detroit game, strange. Obviously get down 21. Then you see the comeback. It's really tough to even get a pulse on what this team is. I think it goes without saying that the majority of people don't think that we have the right coaching staff in place. Maybe a change in coaching puts them over the top. The talent has to be there. I mean, everybody wants to talk about, this morning we talk about Detroit. Maybe they're just paper champions and maybe they're not as good as everybody thought they were. I mean, but they're still one of the best teams in the NFC right now. So it just shows you how close the Saints are to being a team that could actually compete in the playoffs. Maybe not with the 49ers and Eagles and even the Cowboys of the world, but they could be a solid playoff team with the talent that they have. I mean, barring all the injuries that they're going through. But I'm curious what everybody thinks about Derek Carr. Not Derek Carr in the way that we've seen him, but do you think is he somebody that there's just no chance that you can win big with? Is it something that with some further investment into the offensive line, that something that could put him over the top? Is it a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach? Is that something that could put him over the top? Because, I mean, I know he kind of loads the stats with some meaningless yards at times, and the middle of the field he does well, and then he gets into the red zone. To me, it's like, it almost seems like it's the pressure. It's the pressure situations of the red zone, the pressure situations of close games and possible game-winning drives. And what boggles my mind is when he came here, that was one of the big pitches, is that Derek Carr is one of these guys that, he's got X amount of game-winning drives, and he's one of the best in the league at these game-winning drives, and it just seems like he's just shell-shocked. He's like in his own head. I don't understand. Which is why it makes sense when you're down 21-0. I don't want to say it's garbage time, but to me, it's like you got to stop thinking about how important this is and just try and make something happen. And to me, down 21-0, the expectation is 0. It takes the pressure off, and then he can thrive. Just like in the middle of the field, you're not feeling it as much as when you are getting into the red zone and the field shrinks and every decision is, escalated 20x. So I'm curious what everybody thinks. Is Derek Carr just a lost cause, or is that something that the Saints can salvage, whether it is with some offensive line help, whether it be in free agency or the draft, or whether it's with a new offensive coordinator? But either way, it just seems like this is overall, it's just a really tough team to kind of get a pulse on. I mean, you knew in the 80s who the Saints were. You knew in the 90s and even into the Drew Brees era, you knew who the Saints were. This brand of the Saints is just so tough. They've got tons of talent on both sides of the ball. I know you've got some guys that are aging. You got some guys that are pretty young that you've got to depend on. The injuries play into it, but then you've got the quarterback play, the coaching, it's just a lot to try and make sense of. And when you see a team like Detroit roll in and get up 21-0, and all of a sudden the Saints are coming back, you're like, how is it that they can't start the game with that same urgency that they had once they were down 21-0. And it seems like that's one thing that we can kind of put our finger on. It's like, it seems like it's a recurring thing every week, that it's a slow start and then they work their way into a competitive game for the most part. I know there were some seasons where Sean Payton would start the season slow, you know, maybe get off to like a 1-2 start or something like that, but hit their groove and then rattle off 8 in a row, 9 in a row, 10 in a row, whatever it might be, with the exception of the Super Bowl season that they rattled off 13 right out of the gate. But that I can almost understand, like a continuation of your preseason games, and you're still trying to, I mean, every year the team is a little bit different. You're still trying to gel and figure out what's what and your best course, you know, going forward. But this team, it seems like every game it's a slow start, and then they start to figure things out throughout the game, make some adjustments, and it's just that urgency right out of the gate is, if that were there for all of these games, and you could slow the bleeding right away, or limit the damage, or put some points up early, instead of 5-7, you might be looking at 8-4, especially with this schedule. 8-4, 9-3. I mean, a lot of these games have been so close. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think this team is. Is this a total rebuild, or do they have a lot of pieces in place that they can work with and make a run at it over the next year or two? Or is this just scrap the coaches, draft your quarterback, and this is, we're not going to see anything super competitive for the next couple of years? And also, let me know what you think about, is Derek Carr salvageable or not? Who dat to you. Have a great day, everybody.